let me share my screen too. So thank you everyone for joining. Here we have the week theme. That means we have come a lot and we left only 2 weeks for the graduation. So I think we need clap for that. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. So this week's is the same as the past weeks, but it will be a 1 week challenge and not 2 weeks. So we have taken some rest on the past 2 weeks. So that means we have good energy to start with this one. And on this week's challenge, we are analyzing on change point analysis and statistical modeling. That means how these changes are came and how can we, what's the triggering factors towards this change. And for that one, overall, what does it mean by change point analysis means is you have certain pattern in your data and some unexpected change might come. That means, for example, monthly you would spend around 2000 birr and suddenly on the fifth month you have got to spend around 1500. So what triggers to this change from 1000 to 1500 birr, and what's the change for this one? What's the cause, the root cause? Knowing the root cause will help you to analyze or to revise your spending, or whether it is to know is it the right cost that you have made, or is it the right thing that you invested. So you need to identify that one and possibly to be um, profitable for if it is in case of business, or if you see what's the change, when did this pattern shift came, and whether it is a significant change or not, what does it entails you for you as an individual, or whether it's as a business. Usually we will use this thing to analyze our patterns and to find if your sleep pattern is disrupted for like, usually you will sleep for 7 hours and now you are sleeping for 4 hours. So when did this pattern shift starts, and what's the timing change, and does it affect your weight or your health? You need to know, or what does it mean, that change by itself. So when we come to this week's challenge, it's almost always to analyze the important events that affects the Brent oil price. That means we have a Brent oil data, price data. That means the number of per day. It's a time series data, and there are some shifts with this price. There might cause that might be caused from different chains, like the actual by policymakers, or the change from the change might happen with simple news that came and we don't buy, or the change might come from there is a war in Syria, so you have to see some things. So that means this oil price might shift or might go up or down. So for someone who is buying or selling this oil needs to know what type of patterns or what type of shift that this oil price have and what triggers that. And that means they will be aware of when to invest and when to sell. So as a data scientist at Brehan Engineers, you are leading this consultant consultancy stream and specializing by providing this data driven insight for the stakeholders. Like if you buy oil when it costs is around from 70 to $100, so that means that will be the profitable thing. And if there is an OPEC rule or the organization for petroleum exporting countries, if there are any new policies that are posted from OPEC, so you don't have to buy that time. Either it have to increase, or the price will increase, or the price will decrease. That means you need to identify both, and this is the time that's suitable for you to buy, and this is the time for you suitable to sell your oil. So for that one, we have the three key points or the three tasks that assigned for you. The first one is finding the key events that are significantly impacted this Brent oil price and in the past decade, and measuring how much of these events are affected the price change. That means you have seen a pattern that debates from $1,100 to $70, but um, by that day you need to identify what significant change, either it's an OPEC policy or it's a war in Syria or something has been changed due to that, either the oil prices go down or come up. So you need to know that, and you need to correlate these events. And the other is providing a clear data driven insight to guide the investment strategy. So what type of policy that you are going to formulate and from the change that you have seen. Overall, the task is about analyzing this time series data and finding these major shifts in the data and what caused those major shifts, and how can you communicate your findings to the stakeholders, since these stakeholders are not technical persons, so you need to show them how to, what does it mean that you're shifting X date, you're shifting Y date. Uh, Overall, that's the task. And from the data is, here we have the data set, and it's collected from May 20, 1987 to September 30, 2022. So in the past decade, you can say that this is the main data shift in price, oil price. It contains the data and price. Then using that, you can go to internet and find what does the major thing happen in that specific date, and that will help you to correlate what triggers this oil price change, and this oil price change will be advantageous or disadvantageous for that time, and how this pattern will go in the future. If the same things happen, should I need to buy or I need to sell my oil? And when it came to these learning outcomes, basically you will know how these statistical modeling are in POIMC and Bayesian modeling techniques. You will use that one, and you will have a knowledge about them, and also running in modifying a moderately large Python package, since you are going to use either ARIMA or Bayesian approach. So that means you will have this medium, large package that you are going to use, and you can adjust according to your requirement, and also the probability distribution plus what does mean that Bayesian inference, what does it mean by Monte Carlo Markov chain, and also model comparison and policy analysis. So if we see individually what does it mean that by Bayesian inference, or uh, what's the probability distribution, the first is but just seeing the moving average by sliding your window. So you will compute the statistics like average or window time like per 7 days or per month, and you can see the shifts through that, and when is the price is shifted, and you can flag that as a change point. And for that, it's just a simple approach. You can easily implement it, and using this sliding windows and average concept. But since this is the window size is arbitrarily sized, so it may either you make it, if it's in 7 days, it might be too short, or if it's in 1 month, it can be too large. So you need to adjust according to the uh, the problems that you have. That means either this brand energies wants to invest or not to invest. So you need to be critical for that, and how you can handle uh, this complex data pattern. If there is a complex data pattern, how can you find trends or seasonality? It needs to be checked. And the other approach is the cumulative sum approach. How can the price is deviate from the cumulative sum that you have from that's observed from the previous time, and how can you know the current price is changed, or it should have to be flagged as a change point or not. Is that too high or too low? You can use either this method, but still it's have the data relative points. That means your data should have to be stable before the average that you have calculated. And the other is the Bayesian inference, which is on the Bayesian statistics concept. That means you have to model both the data and the probability of having certain number of chains. Then you can either employ this Markov chain Monte Carlo, or to explore the possible way of your data could be segmented into certain regions, and you can have this probability distribution as a change point, and very flexible, and you can accommodate multiple complex models to do it. So what's the next that we have is either the Markov hidden Markov model or the Markov chain, and it's almost similar to the sliding window, or what comes to next, but the state that comes into next should have to be predicted based on the switch between the states over the time. That means it is to guess on those switches happen, since these are not always the obvious, but how can you know that this state will be either a change or either low change or high change in a system. So you can have a great data for that one, and you can capture dynamic change through this time shifts using the Monte Carlo, sorry for that, hidden Markov model, and the probability of guessing what comes next and what's the time shift it will give to you that advantage for you. And if you go with the machine learning approach, the other approach that can be either regression or classification, that can be possible. But you can use either random forest or neural networks to flag which one is unusual point and what does that mean. Yes, it's stopped. I didn't move it. I'm explaining the knowledge that is related to this change point analysis. So basically, what's the instruction for this week's challenge? We will have a couple of tasks for this week, and you have to explore on the data that's given and understand what's the data analysis workflow, plus understand what does meaning by modeling and data itself, and extracting this statistically valid insight from the relationship to the business objective. That means in for the task one, you have to uh, analyze the task, the data. You have to know or you have to identify um, what are the data science workflows and data science or data analysis workflow, and how can you translate that into your specific challenge, and what's the clear steps to process and analyze the Brent oil price data and to get the change points. And on that one, you will define the data analysis workflow that you have used. And you can start by saying, I have used this data science approach or data analysis workflow approach to extract or to perform EDA or to analyze the data pattern or seasonality. How can I have, how can I, my assumption can be effective for this specific challenge. Let's say there will be a war in Syria. That means uh, the oil price goes up, and your first assumption is since by the time that the Syrian war has started, the oil price is going up. So you will state that as a hypothesis, and you can check that specific time frame from the data, and if that re- results to the shifts, that means you are the one who identified this shift, and you can write if something is happening in oil producing countries, uh, there is a likelihood of to get oil price shifts. So this change point is the other. This change point is one you can check for that, and also if there are certain rules by OPEC, that means OPEC provides those oil selling countries can have this and that for as a requirement to sell oil, then that may also decrease the or increase the oil price, or you can see the oil shift from that one, oil price shift. So first of all, identifying this or where you can find this kind of information, and once you have that, and once you know what's your goal for this data analysis task, or what's the meaningful insight that you are expecting from this one, and having a clear roadmap for that one will help you to understand more about the problem plus the tasks that you are going to do. And for that, you can have also the usual EDA tasks or data understanding, data exploration, data cleaning. You can use that one. And for the second one, you can build these models like ARMA or Bayesian inference models, and you can say that this is the change that I have observed. This is the change that comes due to this uh, event. And task two is about understanding the foundational understanding of this time series analysis and how can you utilize statistical models or econometrics to needed to refine the analysis. That means you can have additional modeling technique like vector autoregression or multivariate time series analysis, and this will help you to have additional modeling technique rather than the one that's stated as a basic ARMA or uh, graph models, or which is often used for the data to model this volatility of data. And ARMA will help you to capture the seasonality, and Bayesian change point will detect the change or the price shift behavior. So that means you can use any of these uh, modeling techniques. Then the next is to explore the potential factor that influencing this um, oil price. That means on the above two tasks, you get or you capture, you detect a point of time that this oil price shift are there. Like if you see on 12 October 2021 will be there is a change, a price shift. So what triggered this price shift? You can check either economic indicators or technological changes or political rules and regulatory factors that are out there. Or this is much more of similar to the tasks that we have done on the first week, like how these headlines affect the price, and you could check this what's the GDP or the inflation rate or unemployment rates. So these are additional data that you need to infer or to check from the external source, whether the time that you pointed on your data is uh, have an event to be triggered. Then you can cross check with that information, and also adapting new model, new scenarios. That means you can apply the analysis framework with multiple scenarios that is given, and also uh, overall you have to incorporate new variables into your data sets. That means from the either from the economical factor or from technological factor, is there a change or no change? You can recreate new scenarios. You can add that one, and that will help you to identify more on the changes themselves. And also overall, the task two is about not about modeling only, but it's how you can go beyond modeling or understanding these time series models and additional having that additional models, and how can this change points will be affected by the potential factors that influence the oil price. So you can interrelate with that one. And since this oil price are not as increase or decrease by a single factor, you need to incorporate multiple understanding on what exactly changes this price, either to go down or to go up. There are certain factors, but most importantly, it's not one single factor that changed the oil price, but a couple of reasons that are there. So identifying, knowing those couple of reasons will help you for Prahan Energies to know if this kind of things are happened. Either they will invest or they will decide not to invest. And that means you have one single the price and the date, and also you can have multiple variables that you can compare with the technological change, the GDP, and the others. And on the task three, you will build the dashboard for the analysis result, and the backend is Flask, and the front end will be React. And you can plot the plots that you have. You can have interactive dashboard for the stakeholders to explore the data, and also they can provide their own uh, analysis based on what you based on the exploration or the change that they have seen. But for now, we are using for on the past data. So trying to build this interactive data will help them to engage with the data that we have provided, and the backend should have to be a Flask API endpoint, and the integration should be through front end integration should be through front end call, and you will have, if there is a new data or if there is a new data point that they need to register, that should have to register that one in order to make the your model should have to be up to date. So that means it should have to have up to date data, or the one that shows the change. This is the overall task, and we will have tutorials for that one. And as usual, we will have the interim and the final submission. Do you have any question with respect to that? Wasion.
እኔ ያለኝ ታስከው አለ አንደርስታንድ ዘ ሞዴል ኢንፑትስ ፓራሜትርስ ኤንድ አውትፑትስ ይላል እና ምናልባት ከላይ የጠቀስሻቸው የቅድሞቹ ሞዴሎች ስለነዛ ነው የሚያወራው ስለ
ይሄኛው ማለት ነው አይደለ? ታስኳን ማለት ይሄ ያ ማለት የመጀመሪያው ዴታችንን አንደርስታንድ ማድረግ መቻል አለብን። ያ ምንድነው? ዴታው ያለው ዴት እና ፕራይስ ነው። ምን ማለት ነው? ዴት እና ፕራይስ በኦይል ፕራይስ ላይ and which models are you trying model to use, either የአርማን ነው or ግሪች ሞዴሊንግ ነው የምትጠቀመው or ባይዣን ቼንጅ ፖይንት ነው? የትኞቹን ናቸው? ለምን ትጠቀማለህ? ምን ስለሚሰጡ? ለምሳሌ አርማ ሲሆን ሲዝናሊቲን ፓተርን ትሬንድ ነው እንትን የሚያደርገው እና ይሄ ግሪክ ሲሆን ደግሞ ኤግዛክትሊ ቼንጅ ፖይንቱን ማርክ ለማድረግ ነው። ባይዣን ኢንፍሉንስም ስትጠቀም እንደዛው እና ለምንድን ነው የምትጠቀማቸው? ምን ማለት ነው? ለምን እየተጠቀምክ እንዳለ መጀመሪያ ወርክ ፍሎህን ሴት አድርጎ መነሳት። ያ ማለት ፕላንህ ማለት ነው የመጀመሪያው። ይሄ እንዴት አለኝ ክሊርሊ ማሳየት የምትፈልገው ምን ጋር ቼንጅ ተከስቶ ነበር፣ በምን ምክንያት የሚለውን ጥያቄ ወር የኦይል ፕራይስ አይዘር የጨመረበት ወር የቀነሰበት ምን ስለነበረ ነው በዛ ታይም ላይ። ለምሳሌ በ7 ቀን ኢንተርቫል ውስጥ ኦፔክ አንድ ሩል አውጥቷል። ስለዚህ በዛ ውስጥ ጨምሮ ነበረ እና ያቺን 7 ቀን ፍሬም አደረካት አየህ። ከዛ ካለህ ዴታ አንጻር ሲታይ ያ7 ቀን የጨመረበት ነበረ። ምክንያቱም ምንድነው ኦፔክስ ስላወጣ ነው የሚለውን ሪዛልት እስክደርስ ድረስ ያለው ስቴፕ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ የመጀመሪያው ዴታውን አንደርስታንድ ማድረግ ምንድነው ኢንፑቴ ምንድነው የምፈልገው፣ ያ ማለት የምንፈልገው ኢንፑታችን የዴት እና ፕራይስ ያለው ዴታ ኢንፑት አለን። ፕሮሰሲንጋችን ደግሞ የሚሆነው ታይም ሲሪየስ አናሊሲስ ነው። ዳት ሚንስ አድቫንስድ ታይም ሲሪየስን መጠቀም ይቻላል። ፕሌን ታይም ሲሪየስ፣ ሲምፕል ታይም ሲሪየስ የሚባሉትንም እንጠቀማለን። አይዘር ሪግሬሽን ኦር ዲሲሽን ትሪ ደን እሱን ተጠቅመን አውትፑት ምንድነው ኤክስፔክት የምናደርገው ፕራይስ ሺፍት ያደረገበትን ኤግዛክት ፖይንት ማግኘት ማለት ነው። ያቺ ፕራይስ ሺፍት ያደረገችባት ፖይንት መቼ ናት የሚለውን መልስ መመለስ ነው። ፕራይስ ሺፍት ከነበረው ትሬንድ አንጻር እዚህ ጋር ሺፍት አድርጓል የሚለውን ነው መልሳችን። ሶ ያንን ክሊርሊ ስትራቴጂክ በሆነ ወይ ኦር በትክክለኛው ወርክ ፍሎ ወይ መጻፍ ነው። ከዛ ሰከንድ ስቴፕ ምንድን ነው? ሰከንድ ታስክ ላይ የሚሆነው ሌላ አድቫንስድ ሞዴሎች ደግሞ ስንጠቀም ምን ማለት ነው? ለምሳሌ አዲሽናል ዴታ መጨመር ካለብን አዲሽናል ዴታ እንጨምራለን። ከነኚህ ኢኮኖሚክ ኢንዲኬተር ከተባሉት ውስጥ ለምሳሌ ጂዲፒ እንጨመርን ኦር ኢንፍሌሽን ሬት፣ የዛ ሰሞን ኢንፍሌሽን ሬት፣ የዶላር ኢንፍሌሽን ሬት ኦር አንኤምፕሎይመንት ሬት ጨምረን ግን ከቤዚክ ታይም ሲሪየስ ዴታው አለፍ ብለን ደግሞ እነኚህን እንሞክራለን። አድቫንስድ ታይም ሲሪየስ ሞዴሎች የሚባሉትን ማለት ነው። እዚህ ጋር ስቴት የተደረጉትን ግልጽ ነው?
አዎ ግልጽ ነው።
ሌላ ጥያቄ ያለው አለ? ግልጽ ነው። ምንድን ነው የምንሰራው የሚለው ሀሳቡ በመጀመሪያ ደረጃ ስለዚህ አሁን የምንሄደው ይሄ ኦይል ኢንዱስትሪው ላይ ነው። ዳት ሚንስ ኦይል ኢንዱስትሪው ደግሞ ነሰሰሪ ናቸው የሚላቸው ኢንፎርሜሽኖች ይኖራሉ። አዲሽናል መጨመር ያለብን እነሱ ላይ አሁን ላይ እንደ በፊቱ ዳታው አልተሰጠም። ስለዚህ ሊያስፈልገን የሚችለውን ዴታ ዊ ካን ኮሌክት ቤዝድ ኦን ዘ ኦብዘርቬሽን ዳት ዊ ሃቭ ሲን ፍሮም ዘ ሞዴሊንግ ማለት ነው። እና እንደዛ ነው ኦልተርኔቲቭ ኦፕሽኑ እሱን ልናደርግ የምንችልበት። ከዛ ውጪ አባውት ደ ቼንጅ ፖይንት ግን ያሉትን ለምሳሌ እነ ባይዥያን ኢንፍሉዌንስ ምን ማለት ነው፣ ሞንቴ ካርሎ ምን ማለት ነው፣ እነሱን እንትኖች ለምንድን ነው የምንጠቀማቸው? ኤግዛክትሊ አሁን ሞዴሊንግ ቴክኒኩ ሞዴል ማድረጉ ብቻ ሳይሆን ሞዴሊንግ ቴክኒኮቹን ማወቅ ለምን ይጠቅሙናል የሚለውን አናላይዝ ማድረግ በጣም አስፈላጊ ነው እዚህ ታስክ ላይ። ያ ማለት እያንዳንዱ የተሰጠው ዴታ ሲምፕል ነው። ዩ ካን ሃቭ ሲምፕል አርማ ሞዴል ኦር ባይዥያን ኢንፍሉዌንስ ሞዴል ተጠቅማችሁ ሞዴል ልታደርጉ ትችላላችሁ። ከሱ ባሻገር ግን አንደርስታንዲንጉ ባይዥያን ምን ሲሆን ነው የሚጠቅመን ኦር አርማ ሞዴሉ ምን ሲሆን ነው የሚጠቅመን የሚለውን በስርዓት ሂድን ማርኮቭ ሞዴልን መጠቀም ለምንድን ነው የጠቀመን ያንን ሪዝን አውት ማድረጉ ሞዴል ከማድረጉ በተሻለ ካፔብል ያደርጋቸዋል። ያሉትን ሜቶዶሎጂዎች አውቆ which one is best because of this and that reason and also አሁን ማሽን ለርኒንግ አፕሮቾችን የምትጠቀሙ ከሆነ ለምን እነሱ እንደተጠቀማችሁ ስቴት አድርጎ ኮንክሪት የሆነ አይዲያ አባውት ኦል ኦፍ ደም መያዝ ጥቅም አለው እና እሱኛውን ማድረግ ጥሩ ነው። ከዛ ውጪ ቼንጅ ፖይንት አናሊሲስ ሀሳቡ ክሊር እና ግልጽ ነው። የመጀመሪያው ሀሳቡ ምንድነው? መቼ ነው ምንድነው ምን አይነት ቼንጅ ተፈጠረብኝ? ኮንቲኒየስሊ በየቀኑ 50 ብር አወጣ ከነበረ እና የሆነ ቀን ላይ 70 ብር ወር 80 ብር ካወጣሁኝ ለምን አወጣሁት? ያወጣሁበት ያ ምክንያት መታወቅ አለበት። አይዘር ዝም ብዬ ነው ያወጣሁት ወይስ ኤክስትራቫጋንት ስለሆንኩ ነው ያወጣሁት ወይስ የሆነ ነገር ለማድረግ ነው። ስለዚህ የቺን ፖይንት ማወቅ መቻል አለብኝ። ይሄ ደግሞ ሁላችንም በአንድም ይሁን በሌላ ዴይ ቱ ዴይ ኑሯችን ላይ የምናደርገው ነው። ለምሳሌ ከዚህ በፊት የሚፈጅብን ሰዓት ለመሄድ 1 ሰዓት ከቤት ቢሮ ለመድረስ 1 ሰዓት ከነበረና አሁን 2 ሰዓት እየፈጀ ካለ እና አንደኛው ምክንያት ለምሳሌ የአፍሪካ ህብረት ስብሰባ ቢሆን ምንድነው ምክንያቱ? ሩት ኮዙ ምንድነው? የአፍሪካ ህብረት ስብሰባ ካለ መንገድስ መምረጥ እችላለሁ ወይ? በሌላ በመንገድ መሄድ እችላለሁ ወይ? ምናምን የሚለውን አናሊሲስ እንድንሰራ ለራሳችን ስለሚያግዘን ይቺን ሺፍት ያመጣት በዚህ ሳምንት ውስጥ ይቺን ሺፍት ለመመጣች አንዩዥዋል የሆነች ሺፍት ስለሆነች እንዴት አድርጌ ማኔጅ ላድርጋት ነው። ለነሱም አንዩዥዋል የሆነ ብርሃን ኢነርጂም ሲፈልገው አንዩዥዋል የሆነ ፕራይስ ቼንጅ ካለ እንዴት አዳፕት ያድርጉት። ያ ማለት አይዘር የኦይል የሚገዙበትን ስንስ አሁን በትንሽ ብር ገዝተው በብዙ ብር መሸጥ ነው አላማቸው። ስለዚህ ትንሽ በሚሆንበት ሰዓት ላይ ለመግዛት በጣም መገፋፋት አለባቸው። ዴታ ድሪቭን የሆነ አገዛዝ ማለት ነው። ከዛም ሊወርድ ስለሚችል ኦር ደግሞ ትልቅ ሲሆን ደግሞ ያኔ መሸጥ እንዳለባቸው ማሰብ መቻል አለባቸው። ወይም ደግሞ ዴታ ድሪቭን የሆነ በዚህ ሰዓት እንዲህ ስለሆነ መሸጥ አለባቸው፣ በዚህ ሰዓት ደግሞ እንዲህ ስለሆነ ትንሽ ይሄ ነው፣ በዚህ ምክንያት ነው የተፈጠረው፣ ስለዚህ ግዙና አስቀምጡና ኔክስት ትሸጡታላችሁ የሚለውን ይሄን ዴታ ድሪቭን ዲሲሽን ሜክ እንዲያደርጉ ማገዝ ነው እነሱን። ኦቨርኦል ይሄን ይመስላል። as usual we have interim submission አርብ ላይ and final submission ደግሞ ሮብ ላይ ይኖራል። ጥያቄ አለ? ግልጽ ነው። ስለዚህ አትሊስት ቤዚክ ነገሩን አንደርስታንድ አድርገነዋል። we can explore more with it። አውራት ካልተቻለም ኢሞጂም ምናምን ድሮፕ ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ። እሺ ባሲዮ
ምናልባት ኢንትሪም ሰብሚሽኑ ላይ ከሪፖርት ውጭ ጊታብ ይላልና እዚህ ጋር ላይ የውም ታስከዋል ላይ ብዙ እንትን የሚፈልግ ነገር አላየውም። ያው ፋሚላራይዝ አንደርስታንድ ምናምን የሚል ታስኮች ስለሆኑ ማለት ነው።
አዎ ስለዚህ አትሊስት ግን ጊታብ ሴትአፕ ታደርጋለህ። ቤዚክ ዴታ ኤክስፕሎሬሽን ምናምን ይኖርሃል።
ኦኬ ኢዲዮ ነው። ኦኬ እሺ
እነሱ ናቸው። ከዛ ውጪ ኢንትሪም ላይ ብዙ አይፈለግም። ጀስት አሪዮ ኤንድ ትራክ ሰብሚት ነው ዋናው ፖይንት እና በተቻለ አቅም ሁልጊዜም የኢንትሪም ኮንሰፕታችን የሚሆነው አር ዊ ኦን ትራክ ወይስ አር ዊ ሎስት የሚለውን አትሊስት ሰብሚሽን ሲኖር ለሰብሚሽን ስትዘጋጅ ወይ ፕሮብሌሙን በደንብ አንደርስታንድ ታደርጋለህ ወይ ደግሞ you can feel that you have lost somewhere else and you can ask ማለት ፋይናል ላይ አስክ ከማድረግ በየስቴፑ አስክ ማድረግ አድቫንቴጅ ስላለው ላንተ ለመማርም ታስኮንም ኮምፕሊት ለማድረግ።
እሺ ገብቶኛል።
ሌላ ጥያቄ አለ? ጥያቄ ከሌለ እዚህ ጋር እንጨርሰውና Thank you everyone for joining። እናመሰግናለን። እኔ ጥያቄ ካለ ደግሞ ስላክ ላይ መጻፍ ይቻላል።